Hey guys, I'm super excited to talk about my newest section I've created on the TyypoPrints blog. It's different from my podcast and it's not about me or TyypoPrints. It focuses on people just like you who are living their dreams and doing what they love. These are people who are coming from all different walks of life and backgrounds, from motivational coaches to freelance copywriters to other podcasters to people who are on the path to creating the next best thing. Now, I like to work with people's conveniences and understand these people I want to bring on, and some don't have the most free time on their hands. So I made a questionnaire for them about these questions. And these are: what's your name? What's your business or occupation about? What does your average workday look like? What's your hardest part about your work? What keeps you motivated? What's the best productivity method that works for you? How do you recharge? What's the best advice you have ever heard? And what's something that I haven't said, but it's worth mentioning? This will give you an ideal look for who they are and what they do and what they can take away from that. A lot of these people are great that I put down the information, so if you ever need to talk to them personally, they can get back to you as soon as they can. And also, if you do, please tell them that I sent you. To start it off, I'm going to be answering these questions myself. First, I go through email, the news, Facebook, primarily in a lot of relatable groups, and LinkedIn. Then I go through responding to questions or special requests depending on what's being asked. I plan out social media posts based on how I feel that day. Sometimes I have scheduled phone calls or Skype. Then I either need to be writing in my unannounced book or a blog post that will be recorded into a podcast later. I haven't been doing it lately, but I definitely will take time into doing design work as much as I can, because that's what I love best, and that's something I will always be doing regardless of everything else. And what's the hardest part about my work? It's coming up with ideas that make people want to read, listen, and to be a part of. Then finding out some ideas aren't good and having to start something new. I get pretty used to not putting a lot of faith into something because I don't put all my eggs in one basket. Also, scheduling and sticking with everything can be challenging. When you're creating so many things every day, it can be really tough to go back to something. And what keeps me motivated? I love everything is so unpredictable in my life. When I open my mail or Facebook, I really have no idea what to expect, and that makes my life so interesting. When I hear people liking my work, it feels great and lets me know that I'm making an impact and what I spend most of my time doing. And now, what's the best productivity that works for me is knowing the best time to do my work. I work best at night, specifically between 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Knowing what time works best is by far one of the most incredible practices I do every day. It allows me to put all my activities around what I need to do. And how do I recharge? It's because I host a podcast, I also listen to a lot of other podcasts, and most of them are what my friends do. So it's nice to know to listen to the show personally. I also walk a lot, at least a mile a day, and this is like a form of meditation for me. I think a lot about what's going on in my life during this activity. Not surprising, this is also where I get most of my ideas for about everything in my life. So when I don't walk, I really do feel it affects my mood and my productivity. That's just something I absolutely need to have in my life every day. And what's the best advice I've ever heard? Well, I made a blog post about the 100 best pieces of advice I've ever heard. But if I had to choose one, it would be that we all have more control over our lives than what we think we do. A lot of people think life is a constant grind, and it can be if you let it. We are all stuck by our imagination and our willpower. I personally suffer from this as a lot in my career and relies on these so heavily. So really identifying problems and then do something about it. While you can't solve every day, you can still make progress, and that's just as good. And what's something that I haven't said but it's worth mentioning is if there's one thing I see in common with a lot of successful people is that their happiness always comes in from themselves. This is important to note that this isn't from money, objects, spouses, and friends. If happiness came from those things, you become more dependent, and part of you now belongs to something or someone else. Don't even get me started when they aren't in your best interest. Knowing you're probably wondering how you can be a part of this now, and that's just so awesome that you can email me at nick@TyypoPrints.com. That is TYYPOPrints.com, and answer all my questions as thoroughly as possible, and I'll definitely consider featuring you. Also include photos of you and your work. I think that's just so awesome to show people exactly what is it that you do and the passion that you bring. Thank you so much for listening. TyypoPrints makes dreamers into doers. Thank you for listening to this episode. I'm Nick Mann, and you just listened to the Don't Quit podcast by TyypoPrints. If you'd like to contact me, send me an email at nick@TyypoPrints.com. That is TYYPO Prints. Also, I encourage you to rate the show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and share with your friends. TyypoPrints makes dreamers into doers, and I personally have written an email course just for you. It's called a Breakthrough Email Course to finally get over the biggest challenges that are keeping you from taking charge of your own life. It's completely free with no spam. You'll get an email every morning for the next 7 days, and at any point you want to talk to me, just reply to that email and I will get back to you. Sign up for free at TyypoPrints.com/thebreakthrough, and let's break through your problems together.